Away!
Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Football podcast with me, Rob Lambert, and my co-host, former uni friend but current life friend and FIFA 21 co-op seasons ally, David Utteridge.
Hiya.
If you listened into last week's episode, you'll understand the format. If you didn't, you're in luck as I'm about to go over it again. Each week, me and David will choose a five-a-side team based on a theme chosen by the person playing at home and argue for who would win in each position. The home side will alternate each week. We have the option of one super sub if one of our choices is already taken, and the winner will be gifted a prize from the loser via Royal Mail. Last week saw a battle between mobsters and gangsters. I kicked off my time as the home side in failure. My carefully crafted gang of wise guys and "Hey, I'm walking here's" lost to David's makeshift but admittedly powerful tribe of unholy reprobates. As the away side is my turn to host, and as last week's winner and this week's home side, now would be a good time to ask David if he enjoyed his award and what his chosen theme is. David?
Yeah, so Rob sent me a tiny microstar. They used to be like the football things that you got with chocolate. So I appreciate that. He sent me my favourite ever player, which is Robert Perez in a France kit. Only a green base though, so, you know, not that great. And he has a little paint mark on his face.
I mean, I didn't want to break the budget too much.
It felt very pre-owned.
Oh, yeah. No, I purposely found the cheapest one there was. You know, because, it's not like you've won the whole series. So, you know, if you win the series, who knows? But it's not bad, is it?
It was quite a triumph. Let's be real. We weren't expecting that. I have no mobsters or gangsters knowledge, and I got a Pokemon character in there. So good week all round. All that to say that this week I've chosen something that I think will probably be quite level on. I've gone for witches and wizards. It seems the obvious choice. What with fantasy football. There's a plethora of magical people out there that we can take advantage of. I'm personally a massive Lord of the Rings fan, and I think we're probably both going to have the same character from that.
I'm pretty much waiting for that.
Yeah, so I've got high hopes. I've got high hopes for a couple of collisions, but
But who knows? Because you say you're a big Lord of the Rings fan. Who knows if there'll be a Lord of the Rings character in it? Because last week I went on about how much I like The Sopranos and obviously The Godfather and just typical mobster films like that. And somehow I had no Godfather's characters whatsoever, which is baffling, really.
I think the problem is sometimes with those like really good categories that have such a depth of like characters and people and all of that in it, you keep finding a new one. It's like magpieing, isn't it? You see another shiny object, you're like, oh, actually, I could go for that. Oh, wait, no, that makes more sense. And suddenly, this team of 5, it feels like you could do a full 11.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely.
I've got a strong 5. If I get all my picks, this is a really strong team. And I think you said it last week. I think I'm in with a really good shot of winning. In terms of a team name, I have done a little bit better. I put a little bit more effort in research this week. So I've come up with, you'll like this as well. I know you will.
Yeah.
It's Ruben Alakazam, as in like Ruben Kazan.
That's very
Russia.
Good. I think that was good. It's a shame that mine definitely isn't.
The bar's high.
I know last week I went for Dennis Wise guys, so it was a name mixed with something linked to the theme. But this time I've gone for another footballer mixed with the theme name, and it's Eden Wizard.
Oh,
like Eden Hazard. But if you say wizard totally wrong, then it nearly works, but definitely doesn't. So,
Did you just think of that now?
Literally, definitely last 5 minutes.
You forgot about the team names bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I keep forgetting we're doing that, but that's fine because here we are and it's come out perfectly. Let's be honest. Hasn't
Rightio, rightio. Ruben Alakazam versus Eden Wizard.
I mean, you shouldn't really have to pronounce it differently for it to work, but live dangerously.
Live dangerously, indeed. Match day, kickoff.
Let's go.
So the first player I'm going to pick for my team today is playing at centre back. So he's going to come up against your wide midfielder, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think this is the obvious choice. So we're just going to get it out of the way nice and early. It's Gandalf the Gray of Lord of the Rings fame, specifically Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings. And it's for one pertinent reason. One pertinent scene. It's one of my favourite scenes in all of film. You shall not pass.
Not only have you picked the same player that I had picked, and so I'll have to use my one sub, but also you've used the same reason as I did.
It is
literally that's it, because you can't get past him.
Exactly. It's such an epic scene as well. Like just Gandalf versus a Balrog. Yeah. He's standing on the bridge. It's like, I mean, as you well know, my favourite thing in any film or TV is a heroic sacrifice. It's a trope I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And him standing on the bridge, not necessarily sacrificing himself or knowingly doing it, but there was a look of resignation on his face.
Yeah, I mean, he
brings the staff down.
The bridge he's standing on.
Exactly.
He knows what he's doing.
And then I like all the conjecture at the end where people are like, what did he mean by fly, you fools? And I love how some people, those that aren't well versed in the Tolkien universe, think it's, take the eagles, when really he's just saying, go quick. Because obviously they couldn't take the eagles because of the war in the north. That's a whole nother matter. And I don't know, it's like in something like this, in a week where we're paying ode to witches and wizards, surely we have to tip the cap to Tolkien, who's, it's all built on Tolkien. Everything's built on Tolkien. So that's it. Gandalf the Grey is coming up against someone, and I already feel like I feel like it's 1-0. You could just skip this one, mate.
I mean, I'm kind of defeated already because that was kind of my I mean, like you say, that was sort of my easy win, was having him, and I actually had him in goal because I was going to have it. You can't. I mean, I can understand the centre back thing. It's like the Virgil van Dijk, you can't dribble past him thing, but I wanted him to be like the wall. You can't score past him. But it's
that would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Well, if that's the only win I'm going to take from this game, then that so be it. But it kind of feels like when Barcelona, when they're doing really badly and they've still got Messi, and then as soon as he doesn't play, and you're like, oh, okay, that's all we've got really. So I don't know what we do now. But my the winger that he'll be going up against is kind of an outside choice, but it was one of those that it's from a film I used to watch when I was little, and I'm not sure if you've seen it, Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I haven't.
But there's a well, he's a sorcerer, so he does count, called Lo Pan, and he's the baddie in it. And he at the start of the film, he's like old, and as it goes along, he gets more and more power, and then in the power eventually, so he can rule the universe. So obviously, he's probably one of the most powerful wizards in like film and TV culture, but. And there's no getting past Gandalf, because even I've said it myself. I can't pick him myself and then go, nah, you'd beat him, because otherwise I wouldn't have picked him. So straight away I'm having to give that up. And it's a shame because James Hong, who plays Lopan, he goes to conventions dressed as him, even though he's probably must be in his 80s now. and so you've got to live with that now. You've stopped one of the nicest actors in the history of sci-fi / horror / action. So there's that. But I mean, winning's more important. Let's be honest.
Oh, definitely. Lopan sounds actually like a really interesting thing. I'm gonna have to go and watch that. Who else is in?
Kurt Russell's in it, and Kim Cattrall. And it's a very, very. It's one of those films where you watch. It's like I watched it so much when I was little, and then if you watch it now, you're like, I don't really know if any of this makes sense, but it's very enjoyable. But he's really creepy in it because he's an old man at the start, and then he gets more and more power, and then by the end, he's kind of like 40 or 50. But he's scary then for some reason, and it's very good. But if I knew I was coming up against Gandalf, I would have played a better. It's kind of like being in the FA Cup and you play your weak team and you're like, oh, they're not okay.
Yep.
Right, okay. But yeah, so yeah, that's 1-0 to you, which is a very bad start for me after last week.
Well, hey, so I've scored first in both games so far, so that's big starts, big points for me. So the next one that I'm going to go for. Now, you've mentioned you put Gandalf in goal. So I feel it's only right that I now reveal my goalkeeper. And it is, of course, Scarlet Witch, a.k.a. Wanda Maximoff.
This is getting uncanny now.
Oh, no. Have you got her as well?
I actually have.
Oh, dear.
And you know what? Which you'll find amazing. She would have been the person I'd name right now. Because I had her up front.
Interesting. Okay.
So I would have had Wanda Maximoff versus Wanda Maximoff.
Now,
the Maximoff derby.
The Maximoff derby sounds fantastic. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's interesting.
Which you'd think could be both versions of Quicksilver, but that's another argument for another time.
Oh, don't. So,
but yeah.
Yes. So I picked her. I picked her in goal, thinking, basically, if she's good at manipulating what people see, she could shrink that goal right down. She could strike fear into your eyes. She could do all sorts of things to kind of put you off your game as you're closing in. And I figured that was quite a good thing. If the keeper's in your head, how are you going to score? I'm trying to think of like really, really good. They've all escaped me, but really good like mind gamesy keepers.
Yeah, like Jersey Dudek with his wobbly legs.
Jersey Dudek with the wobbly legs. Wanda wouldn't even have to wobble them. She's just stood there. bit of that magic. Wobbly legs. She could have 8 wobbly legs. So I thought she was a good pick for goalkeeper. I'm interested why you went with her as a striker.
Well, I sort of went for the opposite. Well, for the same reason really, but for the opposite position, because I was thinking if she's a striker, she'd pretty much be perfect one-on-one with the goalie because she could make him think he's seeing balls coming at him from every angle, and so he can't see the real ball.
Oh, nice.
But you know, I think what you said also makes sense. But obviously we've been very strict with the rules, and so based on that, you pick you. I mean, if you pick, the funny thing is, if you'd picked any other position next, I would have actually taken the point there.
Yeah,
but because you picked her first, which is mad because we haven't spoken before this over who has who in what position. Because if we had, I wouldn't make myself be 2-0 down.
No, that's true.
But because I would have cheated, obviously. Why wouldn't I? But yeah, because of the rules, I've used my sub, and therefore I'm 2-0 down. Fair play.
Yikes! It's a long road back. We're looking for Wizstanbul.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up.
Can't get worse. It can't be 5-0, surely.
We're going for it. Okay, I'm feeling sorry for you now. You're on the ropes. You've lost 2 of your players already. So I'm going to pick one that I'm pretty certain you won't have picked as my next choice.
I'm really, really frightened for once because I'm just like, I can't keep having like another goal given away without being able to do anything.
Okay, let's test the waters first. Have you picked someone from a Disney film?
I haven't. No.
Okay, well, we're safe then. So,
Okay.
do you recall the film The Princess and the Frog?
Yes.
That's my favorite Disney film, and it's probably my top 5 films of all time. I think the New Orleans sound is just beautiful. The whole visual on it is fantastic, and it has one of the best Disney villains that there is and I googled this, and on Wikipedia it described him as a witch doctor, which I believe counts within the remit of the theme. It's got a fantastic villain in the form of Dr. Facilier, who I think is voiced by Keith David.
Oh, he also does the voice of the president in Rick and Morty.
Oh, nice.
He's got a cracking voice.
Yeah, he's magnificent. There's a song where he sings about having friends on the other side, and it's just fantastic. The music's so catchy as well. That's what's so good about that film. We'll one day have to do a Princess and the Frog week, because it's just genius. And it makes you, I think when you watch it, you wish they'd go back to that style and have, I don't know, there's something nice about that too, dude. Yeah, exactly. I miss it. Stuff like animated Robin Hood and all of those as well, like the classics in that style. It's my jam. But anyway, so I've picked him. He is playing out wide, so he's my winger. So we're on for your centre back, and I guess I picked him. Yeah, he's sort of tricksy. He's he's got,
but isn't he quite hefty?
Slender.
Isn't he? I haven't seen it in a long time, but I do vaguely know who you mean, apart from physically.
He's like he's a big presence, but he's quite a sort of slender chap. He's a master of trickery. I think he'd be deceitful, so he can win some cheap fouls, which as a winger is always nice. He's got friends on the other side, so maybe he can tempt some of your team to kick the ball in the net. What's left of your team? Yikes.
It's actually like being Liverpool now.
Exactly. We're kicking you out of the game. You're left with just Phillips at the back now. That
was my next pick.
Dr.
Now Phillips, famous
wizard or
but you know what? I'm actually, fair play to your pick, and I wouldn't have thought of it myself, but I'm actually quite happy with my centre back choice. I've gone for, and bear with me, but I'm not sure if you did. Have you ever seen the film The Witches?
I know of it. Yeah.
In that, Angelica Houston plays Grand High Witch.
Oh yeah,
and when she's full witch mode, she must be, kind of Andy Carroll height, maybe like 6'7", 6'8", and I just thought no one's beating her to any headers, so I've put her at centre back, and she's absolutely massive in height, and also she's ruthless. So just based on stature and kind of attitude and character, I honestly think you wouldn't get past her, but that's me.
Ooh. This might be a fight off. We might have to do some serious convincing here.
I'm trying to think of anything that might win it. I didn't pick the Anne Hathaway version because I've not seen it, and also I just have no interest in it. But when I was little, that was the scariest thing you could see. When there's a bit where they all take their like human skin off, and they're all witches underneath, and it's like terrifying. And if you were coming up against her, you'd just let them have it. That's fine. You keep the ball. We'll have our own ball. We'll play someone else. And for that reason, I think she'd see off anyone.
I mean, Facilier kills Ray the Firefly, who all he wants to do is just go and see his Belle Evangeline, a big star in the sky that he just loves. And it's such a sad moment because Ray's there. Facilier and the Shadows are chasing after Tatiana and the gang. Ray tries to hold him up with his shiny butt, and then he just gets squatted. That ruthlessness, that eye for goal. I don't know. Maybe to separate it, we have to pick in Witches and Wizards Week, do we have to pick their greatest wizarding accomplishment? What's their moment? What's their moment of like most power? Is that how we can separate them?
It's tough because I honestly would have been tempted to call someone who like a lifeline from Shorts to a Millionaire, but I don't know anyone who's definitely seen both. So I think yeah, maybe. I mean, I know for the Grand High Witch in the Witches, she brings all the witches from I think globally to one hotel. And I know the hotel is. I think he's the manager or the concierge or something. It's Rowan Atkinson effectively playing Mr. Bean, so he doesn't have much to go up against. But at the same time, she really owns the room and does like a conference style meeting with everyone, all the witches, and they're all like pretty unpleasant, but she's in control of all of them. And also they can turn children into like mice, so that that's something. But yeah, it's a children's film, so you don't really see much, but it's implied that she's eating the children, which is pretty bad.
See, the thing, so I'll pitch Facilier's greatest achievement. He gains powers, and he gains these like powers over these shadows to go and do his bidding, to go and like pick people up and drag them back. So he's obviously after the prince and stuff. He's a pretty nasty dude, but he does have to make a deal with it. And I think what you said about the Grand High Witch kind of having that command over the other witches, whereas Facilier has to sort of bargain for it, and in the end is undone by it. He gets dragged off to his demise. Came out in 2009, so again, whoops.
Yeah,
Facilier doesn't have. He doesn't have
seen it now.
Yeah, exactly. And you should have seen it because it was great. And if maybe more people had seen it, we'd still have the films I like. But anyway, maybe the fact that the Grand High Witch has that command and presence over other horrible magical people. Horrible doesn't really matter, actually, but still nice to know. Versus Facilier, who doesn't quite have that gravitas. Maybe that's how we split them. Maybe you're back in the game and it's 2-1.
I mean, if it helps, I'd really, really need it, and I'll beg for it.
I mean,
I'll send you another Robert Perez.
If you could get me an Edgar Davids, that'd be great. Go on then. I think a mixture of pity and also actually like decent reasoning, but mostly pity.
I'll take it.
Gets it to 2-1.
Brilliant. There we go. I'm back in the game.
I'm leaving a little pause between just in case we need some separation.
Yeah.
Also, then when you're editing, you can see like the wavelengths die a little bit after a section, so you can hopefully it helps. Right. Choice between two.
It's tough this, because I feel like I'm actually going to lose, and
you've got a really good team.
I don't want to lose two in a row.
Wop, 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 wop. Right. Okay. Here we go. So that wasn't enough of a separation between those two things. Hang on.
All right. Is it easy to cut bits out of the middle of videos?
Yeah, so you just sort of like multi-split it and then delete the segment that. So like, I'd have like one big uncut one, but then like delete anything that's just us rambling, and then get a new segment with like the trimmings and stuff. It's not too bad. It's a bit fiddly on your phone, but I think it's the only way you can edit it. So it's like tough shit, really. But you can zoom up on it. That's what I didn't do for ages. Is you can actually zoom in, so you can go to like the minutiae. It's pretty.
Yeah,
it's quite good actually. It's quite a powerful little tool.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you
plug in some Vimto. Right, we'll go 2030. I've done it too long again.
So much pressure.
So we're 6 players in. Well, 5. If we discount Scarlet. It's 2-1. And nobody's mentioned probably the most famous wizard of them all. Or certainly of the modern modern times. We all know where this is going. I ummed and ahed about this. I wasn't sure. I thought, oh, is it sort of hitting the nail on the head? Is it a bit boring? Is it not very cool? And I am nothing if not cool. But anyway, up front, he's the chosen one. He's the boy who lived. It's Harry Potter.
Oh, that had to be a Harry Potter character.
There had to be. I thought, to be fair, I thought about Hermione because I thought, oh yeah, she's like smart and all that sort of stuff. But then it didn't really go beyond that. And then I thought you could look at like Neville Longbottom just for a laugh. No other reason, just giggles in it. I thought, could you make an argument for Ron as a bit of an enforcer because he does play like that kind of role in Quidditch. Thought about Hagrid for stature, and to be honest, you do all of this and you just think, look, if you're going to go Harry Potter, just pick Harry Potter. And I've got some better reasons than just he's the name of the show. So what I was thinking is he is actually a supremely lucky character. Ignore the bit where he's with the Dursleys. He's supremely lucky. The whole part about him living is like, obviously it's his mother's love, but it's like luck that the deflection happened to hit him in a certain way and kill Voldemort and not him. He got the golden snitch, which, he's got credentials in sport. Like he's pretty good at Quidditch. Got the snitch. Nobody won the Goblet of Fire, but it was him and Cedric at the end, and Cedric died. So he didn't win, but he definitely didn't lose in that respect. So I think he's got sporting credentials. He's a team player, going off hunting Horcruxes with the gang. That's a team player. And, he's a chosen one, right? He's a chosen one. How can you argue against the chosen one up top with a bit of luck on his side? Who's stopping that? Not Gandalf.
Sadly not. I think if it was Gandalf, I think it would be quite a tough one. But yeah, I've had to draft in my sub, and I had a few options in there, but I'm unsure whether to tell you what they were yet, in case you've already used them and it ruins the surprise. But what I've done is there was a few options, especially from different sagas as well, just to mix it up. But I've ended up going for Doctor Strange because
I thought you'd go for Doctor Strange. I had feeling
because I didn't want to have two Marvel players. They are players now. I wasn't going to have two Marvel characters in the same team straight away, but as I didn't expect Scarlet Witch to be taken, but I thought if that's what happens, then I'm ready. But so obviously he's a Sorcerer Supreme, so that's quite a big deal. And I think the fact that he can pretty much move anywhere, anytime, as quick as he wants, surely makes him impossible in goal. And great positional play.
Yeah, do some of those warp circles they did at the end of Endgame. Balls flying in.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Sort of cheat. I suppose saying that everybody's got wizarding powers, but it doesn't. He's still a good goalkeeper. That's going to work out very nicely.
But also, you tell me Cumberbatch couldn't save a penalty.
I believe Cumberbatch could save a penalty. I don't necessarily know that Daniel Radcliffe could score a penalty or kick a ball.
I suppose it's tough for that, because the thing is, surely Harry Potter is more powerful.
If he's got the Elder Wand, at some point he had all the Deathly Hallows. I know he got rid of the Elder Wand, which is a bit like, oh, please, Harry.
I hate that bit. It's like, well, just put it somewhere, or give it to someone. Give it to Neville.
Neville would have loved that.
That would have been everything to him. And he's just like, actually, I don't want it. It's like, haven't we watched how many hours of film to see you get this wand and you just binned it? You just snapped it in half so no one can have it. And it's a bit petty. It's like, oh, well, now no one can have it. And it's like, well,
snapped, lobbed off the side. Never mind. Leave that where it is. Oh.
And he doesn't even think. Like he doesn't get, like he just does it in instinct. It's not. You'd think he kind of give it some time, but he's like, no, that's it. And if that was me, I'd think, oh, maybe I should have done that. That could have been useful.
I'd have hung on to it. I mean, Dumbledore didn't snap it. He just kept hold of it and went, "Just chill. We'll have a go with this,"
And also, you don't. I mean, if it was me personally, I kind of go, well, I'm not sure what the rules are with all this, with the magic stuff. And they're like, oh, if you snap the older one, Voldemort can come back infinite times. I'm like, oh, damn it! I wish I hadn't done that.
That's the big twist at the end.
Yeah, exactly that. And I'd be like, oh God, why? And then everyone, then Ron and Hermione would all be like, well, why did you do that anyway? And he's like, well, I just didn't want it. It's like, well, I don't know. Hide it then. And surely someone could stick that back together. But anyway, it just seems like like a needless thing they had to add, really.
It really annoyed me, actually. It's really put me off.
It does.
I'm tempted to sub him out now, just based on that. I'm really tempted to sub him out.
Well, if you do, it gets us level. But I don't know. It's difficult because obviously he's so powerful. But is he powerful without the Elder Wand if he's just snapped it?
I just don't know if he can match up against the Sorcerer Supreme. But it's whether I think I can draft someone in now who could possibly beat Doctor Strange. Ooh. I've got some options on the bench, but
or put it down to the
last player.
You're the home side. I'll leave it with you.
Oh, I do love the drama. Okay, well, I think realistically, Doctor Strange is going to be an incredible goalkeeper. I don't actually think Harry Potter's that naturally brilliant. I don't think he matches up to that. I don't think they've got the same wizarding power. I just don't, and I certainly don't think he's got the footballing ability to beat someone like Doctor Strange.
And also, I think Doctor Strange would stare you down, but I think Harry Potter's powerful. But has he got the bottle?
I think you've taken it. I think that's 2-2, and we're going into a decider.
It's very tense. Actually, it was this close last time, wasn't it? But there wasn't a 2-0.
It really is Wizstanbul.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I hope so. We're back to Jersey Dudek. Well, who is my next joke? No,
thank God, because he was mine too. Right, decider it is. Deciding matchup then. So we're on to centre midfielders. So I've gone from 2-0 up. It's now 2-2. You need a presence. You need somebody who's going to grab this game by the scruff of the neck. And I think it's a good pick. I think this is a good pick. It's Jadis. Do you know her by name? No? Would you know her as the White Witch? From Narnia?
Oh.
As portrayed by Tilda Swinton?
Yes, vaguely. I've actually never seen that, but I know all the other things he said. Just never
none of them
interested me.
None of the books?
No.
Never gone on a Wikipedia spree? Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I know. I probably know the entire cast because I like stuff like that, but I don't.
Liam Neeson is the voice of Aslan. Yeah.
Is he?
What?
Yeah, but you don't see him, so I don't know if that
would have spoiled the effect, is what I'd say. slapping him in old school Wizard of Oz. Well, I could have picked the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
but I haven't.
Oh, you know what? That was my first thought, and then I thought, no, there's no way. It's some creepy little man.
It wasn't that impressive. And if it's like the James Franco one, then even worse. But
edgy.
Those are the days. So the White Witch, you may or may not know, she's pretty badass, to be honest, right? So she's 7 foot tall. She's of royal blood. She's 7 foot tall, so that's already looking pretty good in the midfield. Like this giant woman, and she's a presence. Like she fights in wars and stuff, so it's not like she's a shrinking violet. She's a master strategist. There's a really
it's quite rare to actually have like a player that we've picked that actually like is physical, because most of the time it's just like, well, I suppose they look quick.
She actually fits the bill. Involved. Like she does have the power to turn people to stone. I mean, she put an endless winter on in Narnia as well. She's quite, strike fear into their hearts and all that. She's also quite influential. Like there's a few people she takes under her influence. So Edmund is the obvious one it's obvious if you've watched The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which weirdly you're in. James McAvoy is in that, but
yeah. I either get told I look like James McAvoy, which obviously the best, it's not a bad person to say you look like. I get Limmy a lot, or there's a guy on who's in a GIF where if you type in like trying to add up or something, it's a guy like trying to add up on his fingers. That's the 3 people I get. They're like, I've seen
that was a real sliding scale of fame.
Yeah, it's pretty, and you can definitely work out in your head like which ones you want to be and which ones you don't. As much as I like Limmy, you want to look like James McAvoy instead of the GIF guy or Limmy. But I'm a massive Limmy fan, so that's great.
I think you're 2 out of 3 there. And as Meatloaf once said, that ain't bad. Yeah. But hopefully, never.
Do people say you look like Meatloaf?
Never. Once no, Austin Powers, but that I liked that.
That's terrible.
I liked
you
that.
You don't look like Austin Powers.
So hopefully, I don't know. I feel like there's. Look, I'm not going to pretend Jadis is my strongest pick, but I do feel like 1, we've got the power of Tilda behind it, and 2, I think this is arguable. I think you're going to have a good shout here.
It is arguable, but I'm quite relaxed because my pick is very, very good. When you mentioned Harry Potter, I said that it's oddly enough the first Harry Potter character we've heard.
Oh, no.
And I didn't say only Harry Potter character because I've also got a Harry Potter character. In central midfield for me, I've picked Voldemort, played by Ralph Fiennes. And, surely a clever and wise player, and physically and technically similar to Zinedine Zidane. He is bold.
That's the second week in a row that he has been centre midfield for the away side.
My thoughts exactly as well, because I thought at first I put him in central midfield, and I thought, I remember you doing it, and I thought maybe I should move it. And I thought, no, where else is he going to work? Of course, he's central midfield. He's not massively tall. He's not. I couldn't imagine him being good in goal. He just gets because he's quite skinny.
Yeah.
I think from what you can tell, I mean, there is a bit where he's pretty much born. In the film,
you picking that version of it?
I'm not guessing.
Damn.
no, because you
and a 7-foot woman would.
And you feel bad. Yeah, but I think I don't know. I just could see him being. I mean, it'd be really creepy if you imagine Voldemort being really like technical with the ball and doing like FIFA Street skill in the middle.
He'd never pass it though, would he? He'd never pass it. He's not a team player.
No. He'd be built like Zidane, but play like Maradona. All being well, where he's just like, no, I'll take it myself. In a perfect world, he might just hog it like.
I mean, I think he'd hog it like a bad player. That's where I'm going. I don't think he passes it.
I just could see. I could see him being clever though.
I mean, he would undoubtedly be clever. He's a very proficient wizard.
It's a tough one. I just think one of those like ultimate players. I mean, in a way, I was kind of hoping that it would be Harry Potter versus Voldemort. I nearly considered changing it, but
it's a real shame. It's a real shame. Because that would have been beautiful. because I could have easily claimed a win there as well.
Yeah, exactly. But I think in midfield, I think he's one of them, and he's the type of player you'd give him the captain's armband because he'd boss everyone about. He'd have that Timothy Spall-Rat character on the wing, and he'd have
poor Peter Pettigrew.
But yeah, and I can't remember any other names, but he'd have David Tennant and Brendan Gleeson and all of them.
Gleeson's definitely not on the bad guys team. It's like Mad Eye Moody is a fantastic aura. I will not have this.
I think I'm thinking of when David Tennant
if you can name the character that David Tennant plays, I'll give you the win right now. Don't you Google it? If I can name it, can I have the
win? If you didn't definitely know it, then I'd have accepted it. Can you give me a
same surname as a footballer with a podcast?
I'm
going to go 5 seconds.
Yeah,
it's the same surname, but he's not called Peter.
Oh,
I
don't know, like
not bad effort.
Bongabus.
I mean, it is bad effort, but yeah, of all the things you could have said, Barty Crouch Jr. It's all right.
Wasn't far off though. I got B Crouch. Right?
Well, yeah. I suppose that is like.
So, I mean, so if I posted something to him, I would have got it right.
You make it. Well, he'd have given it to his dad, who's actually Trigger from Only Fools and Horses. Yeah, there you go. All this to say, I'm putting off this confrontation.
It's very tough. It's very tough. I think physically you win it, but I just feel like technically, I just can't see. I can't see anyone beating Voldemort. If someone with his mind and he's up for the fight, I'm struggling to concede.
It's just that it's the team player thing that I'm trying to get around. I'm trying to work that angle.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think you'd have like a Steven Gerrard on your hands, and I'd have like a Roy Keane. You'd have a come on guys, we can do it. I'd have a you do this, or I'll actually slit your throat. Both work, but
I'm looking at the subs bench. I'm seeing if I've got any definitive winners. I know. Voldemort's a really good pick. Why didn't I do that?
I think you couldn't have had Harry Potter and Voldemort.
Yeah, it starts to get a bit too much. I've already given away too much of my interest in it. Well, I feel like there's no chance you're going to concede to Jadis.
It doesn't. It helps that it doesn't help that I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean that I should automatically win. It doesn't not mean that.
Okay, I feel like Voldemort's iconic. I'm going to go for a super sub. We're going to take Jadis off. Oh. And I feel like if you've got the ultimate bad wizard, I will pull out the big guns. I don't know why he wasn't in the team from the start, but we're going to go for the ultimate good wizard that isn't Gandalf. And I only really didn't put him in the team because I felt like there were too many beards at one point in my lineup. It's Merlin.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
Oh, what did you think?
Oh. I thought you were going to do Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've said it now. I'm going Merlin. That's there's legacy there. So this is iconic Merlin striding out to the pitch. That's all of wizarding history. That's magic. It's that weird BBC series that was actually like strangely addictive with John Hurt as a dragon.
Yeah. There's a straight to video.
Really?
Rick Mail as him. That was a bit weird. Yeah, it's called Merlin Returns. It must have been like 2002 or something, and I used to love it. But looking back, I was like, why did Rick Mail to play Merlin?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it was one of them things. I think they showed it on like CBC once, but I'm sure it was straight to DVD, or I think it was on the cusp of DVDs being a thing. They were like, well, we need this on DVD. And it was pretty awful.
So, I mean, what does Merlin have that Voldemort doesn't? How can I try and swing this as best I can? 1, he's got long beard, wizard trope. Voldemort doesn't. He's better wizard. 2, he's got a wizard hat. He can do magic.
True.
I think Voldemort might be able to do this as well, but I'm on a roll. We'll dial it back. He's got wizard glasses. Old wise sage glasses.
And I mean, to be fair, I've not helped myself because I loved Rick Mail and I was devastated when he died. So I've only made it worse.
You're now picturing a guy that can you really consign him to defeat? We've got it. Merlin's also got a wizard's nose. Voldemort doesn't. Voldemort doesn't have a wizard's nose.
He
doesn't have a nose. So
he doesn't have a nose whatsoever. And by the way, I actually managed to find time to look up a review of. I just Googled Merlin Returns to check it does exist. It was released in 2000, and on Google it includes at the side where they have the Wikipedia and IMDb info. It includes a short review from Empire. And obviously, this is meant to be making you want to buy it. And it says, unless you're between the ages of 7 and 9, you'll lose interest long before the end. I was probably. What would it be? This shows how bad my maths is. I would have been, what would it be? 4, 5, 7,
fine.
7 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to.
Within the bracket. Yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah, but I honestly didn't see a way, unless you'd put Harry Potter. I didn't see a way past Voldemort lose. He just had to win. But I think I don't think you can beat Merlin because surely wizards in general was founded on the basis.
He's the godfather of wizardry, the sage of all sages. It makes you wonder if I think he's this good. Why was he on my subs bench? Don't question that. Don't question that. If we're going ultimate good v ultimate bad.
Yeah, and I think
it feels dramatic. This feels like it's a penalty shootout in a way. Getting a super sub. It's a golden goal. It's a golden goal. It's Trezeguet at the World Cup.
Yeah. It's when you play an ultimate team and it's the dying seconds and they bring on 99 rated Messi. Yeah, okay. I guess that's how I'm going to play it. I've lost. Interesting. So yeah, I have to give up to that. There's no way past that.
So should we rattle through the teams? Just make sure we've got this right. So for the home side, Ruben Alakazam. It's Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff in goal. It's Gandalf the Gray at centre-back. Centre-mid was Jadis, subbed out for Merlin. Then out wide, we have Harry Potter. And up top, we've got Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog. And for the away side, Edan Wizard. In goal, Doctor Strange. Centre-back, Grand High Witch. Centre midfield is He Who Shall Not Be Named. Out wide is Lopan. And up top is nobody. It's a no-show. But it would have been Scarlet Witch had she not double booked for the other team.
So there we have it. Another 3-2 defeat for me and another 3-2 win for David. But did we get the result right? And were our selections as strong as humanly possible? let us know on Twitter and Instagram at FantFantFoot. That's FantFantFoot, and on YouTube on the official Fantasy Football podcast channel. You can also follow the Fantasy Football podcast and listen to last week's episode, the episode you're listening to right now, and all future editions on Spotify and all other major podcast platforms such as Amazon Podcasts and Google Podcasts. Thank you for listening, and tune in next week where I'll be unveiling my choice for the next theme, and I'll once again attempt to smite my current friend and potential future adversary in yet another game of fantasy football.